The next one that I'm going to touch upon is the access to capital. Now, companies that have strong ESG performance, they will definitely find it easier to attract investment. They will find it easier to secure finances, not only from private investors, but also from banks. Because increasingly, we are seeing that the investors are considering the sustainability criteria. Banks are considering the ESG parameters before giving out any form of loan to the organizations. And why are they doing this? Because they've started to see ESG as a potential risk. And thus, they have embedded these ESG parameters in the due diligence criteria that they do for the organizations and the companies. So, in a way, the investment decisions will also be driven by the level of adoption of ESG practices within the organization. This being a very important reason of why you should look into the ESG practices that you currently have in the organization and how can you up your game within these aspects. Another important reason I would want to touch upon is the technological advances. Now we all know that technology is something which is developing. It develops on a rampant pace, and it has been very significant over the recent years, I would say. Right? Be it the manufacture of goods, be it the packaging, be it transportation, how are you using your resources, whether there's an optimal utilization that is being used. So we are all talking from a point of view of an operational excellence or the efficiency in manufacturing, right? So all this have become a lot more significant, and it has also actually helped the organizations to reduce their cost, to have improved savings, among various other aspects. And keeping this trend as it is, the feeling is that in the coming years, the environmental innovation will set the agenda for the businesses, and not only in India but across the globe. So, various examples of environmental innovation that companies are doing, gaining a lot of traction around this. I will touch upon that in our videos to come. But definitely technology is something which is constantly evolving, and plus setting the ground for various business models to be developed around this environmental innovation. And why all of this are we talking about? Because ultimately, which brings me to the next reason, ultimately it is the consumers who are demanding it. So whether a focal company is asking its suppliers is definitely because the ultimate consumer also wants it. So whether we are talking about B2B or we are talking about a B2C kind of a business, the quality of life is definitely increasing, and because of which the people, they do expect products that they can consume to be of better quality and not at the expense of degrading the environment, because they see the environment, the planet as a whole, as one entity where the quality of living is directly related to how we are treating the environment and the surroundings around us. So definitely the consumers are expecting the companies to produce better quality goods, but not at the cost of deteriorating the environment, and thus there is a huge push and a demand from the consumers at the end as well. Another major reason of why we require ESG is it definitely will help you project your organization with a bit of more competitiveness, which means you will have a competitive advantage when you say that you are taking care of ESG practices within the organization. As I mentioned, that it is increasingly being looked at as a risk. So it will definitely mitigate the risk to an enterprise. It will provide you various opportunities to identify new markets, new products, tap into new consumer bases. And you will also reflect that, your organization is very resilient to adapt to these changes. And increasingly, you will adapt to these changes. Your stakeholders, you'll start gaining your trust. The consumer preferences have already started to shift. So you will be building a big brand reputation for your organization and give you that edge over your competitors for sure. right? And the last reason, which I would quickly want to touch upon, we all know the significance of climate change. Yes, climate change is real, it is happening on a regular basis. There are flash floods, there are drought like conditions, the weather pattern is fluctuating. So all this is something which is very, it's not distant so much any longer. It's very near. It's what we can see on our regular day to day basis. And so as to mitigate and to adapt to those kind of changes, you will have to assess what kind of changes operation wise you have to make sure that there is the climate change risk is all mitigated and you've taken into consideration, be it where your organization is operating or what kind of operations do you have. All this climate variability will have an effect on the organization, so this has to be taken up very seriously and transformed and translated into some effective strategies and implementation programs within the organization. With this, I come to the end of my today's video. I hope this was insightful for you. If you found this useful, please hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, also press the bell icon to get notifications when I put a new video on. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.